Hello, and welcome to Modern Druid Podcast. I hope everyone is having a great day. And today I'm running solo. My partner, Morgana, is busy at the moment doing her own work, personal work. So I'm going to be running solo with this today. And today is about divination. A little bit different take on it. And we're going to be talking about with kind of like conjunction with Carl Jung. And we're going to see how these two things connect very well. It has been a crazy week in the sense of beautiful rain and beautiful thunderstorms. I really love it, especially as a druid, being out in that rain and that thunder, and just really gives me a lot of great energy. Actually was outside in my backyard, just soaking up the rain in my face and just letting myself be in the rain and actually doing some workouts like a lunatic back there. But it was so connecting to the earth. Just loved it. But we're going to talk about divination. So as druids, we use divination, as I'm sure in other practices, obviously, in witchcraft, Santeria, many different practices around the world use divination and always have for thousands of years. They've always been a way to try and figure out the future for kings and queens, for leaders and of many different cultures. Always had a shaman or somebody to kind of lead them, give them advice. Even Julius Caesar, it was rumored that he had a druid that would give him advice about the Roman Empire. So it's something that's been around for thousands of years. Today we're talking about that connection with Carl Jung and the divination, well, how he probably would interpret it or how he interprets it. It's kind of my personal way of how I interpret it through reading his work. I believe in a lot of it's metaphorical, and it doesn't mean that takes away anybody else's beliefs. Everybody can believe they want the way they want to. They can believe that divination also comes from the divine source. Obviously, it can come from your ancestors if you want to believe. It can come from spirits. Anything you would like to believe. That's why we are all open to anything that can happen. Nothing to say is a definite to anything because I believe what Socrates says, and I live this every day, is I know that I know nothing. And if you sit there and keep that beginner's mind, you will be successful in life because you'll always be open to new things and maybe change your opinion about something. So we're going to go to what is divination? What is it? At its core, it's the practice of seeking knowledge of the unknown, not through logic, not through data, but through symbols, signs, through language. The universe already speaks in it if you're paying attention. Things like tarot, runes, the I Ching, astrology, scrying, reading the birds in flight, bone throwing. These are the different tools that have the same underlying idea. That reality isn't just some random noise sometimes, that there are patterns, correspondences, threads connecting the outer world to the inner world, meaning the self. Carl Jung had a word for this. It was called synchronicity. Meaningful coincidence, events that line up, not because of cause and effects, but because of meaning, but by meaning. And divination is a technology for tuning into that. It's not about predicting always the future, like a weather report. It's about asking questions and creating space for your intuition, the source, or the sacred, whatever you want to call it, to answer back. The cards themselves do not have magical powers. Well, some people think that they do, but the act of shuffling them and drawing them and sitting with the imagery, that opens a door. It bypasses the analytical mind for a second and lets something deeper come through. That's divination, not fortune telling. A conversation with yourself and with something larger than yourself. And I want you to sit with that word for a second. Conversation. Conversation. It's like self-talk, right? It's the self-talk. It's the unconscious self-talk or subconscious self-talk. What do you need? What do you seek? What are you obsessed with? These are all internal things. Because Jung himself did something very similar. He called these kind of divination, he called it active imagination, a deliberate dialogue with the unconscious. He letting in images, symbols, and figures rise up on their own, and then actually engaging with them, asking them questions, listening for the answer. Divination is that same move, externalized. So when Jung would go into these deep, I would say meditative places, he would let his imagination run wild in his mind. It's like what we do in Druidry, where we will go visit our grove in a meditation state, that grove that's in our imaginary forest, and we do our work there in our mind. Instead of just closing your eyes and waiting for an image to surface sometimes, you can draw a card. You can cast a rune. You could even throw a coin for a hexagram. Whatever that symbol that shows up outside of you is still speaking, though, the language of the unconscious. Jung believed that we all carry that same deep structure, the collective unconscious. Archetypes, the shadow, the anima and the animus, the self, patterns that are so old and so universal that they show up in myth after culture with no contact even between them. And divination systems like the tarot, the I Ching, the runes, they're really just organized maps of some of those archetypes. So when you pull a tower card, let's say if you pull the tower card and it's about the well running dry, you're not being really told about the future by some outside source. You're just being handed a mirror, a symbol that resonates precisely because it's already in you, already a part of that deep structure within yourself. Jung believed we all share that. And with something larger than yourself, that's the collective unconsciousness itself. The layer of psyche that isn't just personal, that isn't just yours. It's shared, it's ancestral, older than any of us. So divination becomes a threshold, a place where your individual mind touches something transpersonal. Jung would say that this is part of a lifelong work of integrating the unconscious material into the whole conscious self. Divination gives you a structured way to keep having that dialogue with the self. So it's card by card, rune by rune, session by session. We can actually start learning about what's hiding subconsciously within our mind, or what we need to do for ourselves that is being interpreted through the cards or the runes reflecting back to ourselves. It's not magic in this Hollywood sense. It's psychology wearing the mask of mysticism. Or it could be mysticism wearing the mask of psychology. Either way, it's a conversation with yourself, with everything that made you. That is the best way, at least for me and for a lot of people, to kind of interpret this. So if any of this resonated with you, I want to kind of like leave you with some places to go deeper. Because I'm just giving some of the highlights right now about Carl Jung and divination and active imagination. Uh, but Jung's own work and the people who've like built on it, they go a lot further. So here's like a good reading list that you can pick up. This is actually a really good beginner part. Man and His Symbols. That's the best entry point for anything written by Jung, and it's written for like the general audience, not for like academically. Memories, Dreams, and Reflections. It's his autobiography, and it's where you really see the mystical part of him, like his visions and dreams and stuff. Academic psychology that really doesn't make room for a lot of the academic psychology. You can read the archetypes and the collective unconscious. It's really dense, just to give you fair warning. and also just Carl Jung, the Red Book, which was a diary that he wrote. And when he died, nobody found it for years, I believe. You can not quote me on that, but I think it was his family never found it. And then when they found it, they're fascinated by his deep spiritual work with the active imagination. And if you could find a book that actually has his art in it, that's even more powerful that he drew. But it's a book that's a little expensive on the market. And if you can get a copy of it, usually they're really big, the copies of it with the pictures, it's very expensive. But it's a really has some amazing work. But that's the list. Start where, anything pulls you, trust in the synchronicity of it, actually. If the title keeps showing up for you, go for it, you know. But let me give you a couple quotes also that Carl Jung uh, talks about. I guess gives some really great quotes, some of my favorite quotes that he has. And one is, as he says, is until you make the unconscious the conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Another one is the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Another one is we meet ourselves time and time again in thousands disguises on the path of life. And the last one I really like is the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. So thank you very much for listening to this podcast. It was short and sweet. I just throw the knowledge out there, and because I don't want to do like an hour podcast, I'd rather just do something that's about a half hour, maybe tweak your interest in something. That's what kind of what Druidry is about. It's always about investigating new things, not just nature wise, but in every way. And we hope you have a great week and be kind, be grateful, be humble, because that's the best way to get through life. I think we forget that nowadays a lot of time in this world. To be kind, grateful, and to be humble. Have a great week.